So we have a different type of testings. Functional testing. Can you all mute uh, so that it won't be disturbed? So we have a different type of testings: functional testing, non-functional testing, security testing. So these are the main areas. In the functional testing, you have a front-end testing, back-end testing. So the front-end testing can be done with Selenium, Playwright, Cypress tools. The back-end testing you can do manually using Postman. You can automate them using different tools like Playwright, Cypress, Rest Assured, Karate framework. So different types of Rest Assured framework. Different frameworks are there for automating the back-end APIs. Sir, what is this back-end? What is this front-end? Front-end is nothing but which is visible to you on the pages. That's a front-end. So the visible portion to you. That visible portion is called front-end testing. So you will check, okay, everything is visible. You will perform the actions. The actions that you performed is working or not, you can check it. It is visible to you. Whether the page is moving or not, also you can see that. But what is a back-end testing? Back-end testing is nothing but there is no UI, there is no GUI. So it will go and interact with different systems. That is a back-end testing. So first of all, understand the internal structure of an application. So how it will work, what is the layers, different layers. If you understand, then back-end testing is going to be easy for you. So there is a client and server. Client is from the computers, you will sit and send a request and you will get back the response. So basically from the client, so you will send a request to the server. So server will receive the request and sends the response back to the client. So there is a client and server, two concepts you need to understand. So server is a connection point for several clients. Many clients, one server, many clients, like a Google server or Gmail server. One server, but many clients means how many people are accessing that Gmail. Each client is one Gmail account user. So that is hitting the Gmail server. So this is a client and server concept. So this server will handle the request and process the request and send back the response to the client. So client is a software that connects to the server to perform actions. So client will send the request to the server. Server inside your request will be processed and the response will send back to the client. That's the client and server means. So what is presentation layer, business layer and database layers? So this is the presentation layer, application layer, data layer. These are the three layers will be there for any web applications. So the presentation layer is designed by HTML, JavaScript, CSS concepts. And application layer or middle layer is designed by programming languages like Java, C#, Python, C++, .NET. So all these languages are used to design the business layer or application layer. Data layer. So data layer is going to be handled by databases. There are different databases. So MySQL database, Oracle database, right? SQL Server, and there are again RDBMS databases and NoSQL databases are there. So basically the data will store in the databases. It can be table format, rows and columns, or it can be JSON format also. So that is the data layer. Data layer contains the data. Data layer contains the data. So that's the three different layers every application is going to have. See, MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL, MongoDB, these are the different databases which have the data. So that is the data layer. So what is an API? API means application programming interface. So it is one of the type of software testing. API testing means, so it is one of the API testing. So that focuses on verifying and validating the functionality, performance, and reliability of the application programming interfaces. API is nothing but a set of rules and protocols that allows different software applications to communicate and interact with each other. So basically two different systems, how they will talk. Suppose you are buying a product in Amazon, how it will interact with a bank software to deduct the amount. Amazon didn't build the software, right? So how it will work? That is through APIs. Internally, it will go and talk to the bank software, authenticate your credentials there if it is correct, and that bank software will give a permission to this Amazon which is sending a request to the bank software and authenticated there how much amount it has to deduct and deducts and send the response back to the client. So this is what going to happen in the back end. All it is happening in the back end calls. So that is the API testing. Why you need to do sir API testing? So you need to test, right, whether the API is okay. API developer will write as a functions. He has written a logic there. That function is working or not, how do you know? In order to check that, you need to test them. So that testing is called API testing. So this API testing, there are a lot of scenario. API testing helps identify issues such as incorrect data formats, incorrect response codes, security vulnerabilities, performance bottlenecks, and functional errors. These are the different type of issues can be found easily with this API testing. So that term API was first introduced in the this approach, the relational and network approaches, comparison of the application programming interface, and this date. But we don't want all this small things. Let's move on. What is API? Which stands for application programming interface. Is a software so that allows two softwares to communicate with each other. That's the main purpose of these APIs. So APIs are used with protocols like HTML, XML, JSON. So HTML is used for web-based APIs, XML is used for SOAP APIs, JSON is used for REST APIs. So we'll discuss what is JSON, right? and those things once again. So don't worry. See, this is the one. So you will, in the system, you will sit and you will send a request, and that request will be processed in the server inside. If the request is available in the web server, and it's okay. If not there, it will go to application layer and database, and it will fetch that data and you will send back to the client, same client. So that is the procedure how APIs works. So what are the advantages of APIs? So if you develop the APIs, so applications can be easily accessed without a GUI. You don't need GUI. So you can access the APIs and you can find out easily. So APIs let you create layers in apps in order to distribute information to different audience. So that's the another advantage. Customization. So it can serve as a solution to create different experiences for users, letting protocols, functions, and commands be adapted according to specific demands. Efficiency. When you have a content that is automatically published and made available on different channels simultaneously. Basically, APIs allows more efficient data distribution and adaptability. So one of the greatest benefits of API is ability it has to adapt to changes through data migration and flexibility of services. So I can say simply all these are bookish knowledge, right? So you assume that what is the advantages of APIs is quicker response you will get. And two different systems, you develop something in the C++ or Python, both can interact with easily in the internal. And even a UI you cannot see that. Even so, suppose you want to create an account, you can create an account without logging into the GUI. Just give the information, what is your first name, last name, username, all those details, automatically it will create account in fraction of seconds. That is the advantage with this API testing. So APIs basically. And so where this API is used, the API is used. So you want to sign into different applications using social media credentials. Like you have a Facebook account, you want to log in to some other website, xyz.com website, and they will provide their login with Facebook, login with Google. So this kind of things you have seen, right? I hope you all seen this kind of options in the, if you are logging with a different Gmail account in some other websites. Without creating an account, you are able to log in. So all this is because with the APIs only that is possible. So that's the one thing. So when contacting the bank, right, while making payments in e-commerce transactions, this is widely used. APIs are used widely. So weather applications. So you want to get a weather report today or a particular area, so you can do with APIs only. So and also Google Maps. Google Maps also uses these APIs. Stock market data, if you want to get quickly, you can use these APIs. So that's the another advantage. So see this kind of all the weather data, weather reports, stock market data, or particular city, how much temperature is there. If you want to know, all this is possible with this APIs. So most popular API services are Google APIs, WhatsApp API, Facebook APIs, and YouTube API. So all these are different APIs, right? So Google APIs, these are the APIs that Google offers to retrieve data from its own applications and websites. And WhatsApp API, so it is another API service for adding a WhatsApp button to the websites, right? So you can add no login with WhatsApp credentials. You can log in. You don't need to create again login. You don't need to create an account with that website. And Facebook API, so similar kind of approach you can do. So YouTube API allows accessing YouTube channel data. So that's all the different popular APIs in the market. Twitter APIs, right? So that's another popular. So what are the different API types? So we have internal APIs, open API, and partner APIs. So composite APIs, right? So the most popular API architecture is SOAP, RESTful, GraphQL, gRPC, WebSocket, and Webhook. So for us important is RESTful. So RESTful means resource-based request for web servers. That's a RESTful web services. And SOAP we will use very less. And this is basically any financial data transactions related thing can be done using this SOAP, but you should know XML concepts. GraphQL is the another one. So query language to reduce the network load. So with the RESTful web services, you have to send multiple requests and there is more traffic in the network area, right? So in order to reduce that, people are going to use GraphQL, query language we call this. If anybody asks you examples for the APIs, you can give all these APIs. Twitter API, Amazon Advertising API, Google Maps API, so YouTube APIs, Facebook APIs, right? So these are the different type of APIs. Then what is APIs can be, open source and also a paid ones. So some APIs, if you want to use, you need to pay for that. Some APIs are open. So now see, WebDriver is a all APIs only. It's an open source API. There is one more tool, UFT, which is a paid version. You have to pay money. Even ChatGPT also, if you want a pro version, ChatGPT for you need to pay for that, right? So that is the AI model. So if you want, you need to pay for them. Those are all, so APIs will be open source and also paid versions will be there. So all secure data related and that is retrieving you. So the companies will pay for the other companies who has developed them. That features basically you can develop the features also with APIs. Like you can create a user. So they will write a create user function and they will give the name create user API with a post method. Get users, another one, all the users you can get. Update users, you want to update some info about the user, you can use update users. Delete users, you want to delete an account, so then delete users you can use. Delete API you can use for deleting the users. So like that, every feature one API will be created, and that will be used backend. Without UI also you can do that. That's how this APIs will work. So let's see what is a web service. We understood API is a application programming interface. It is used to communicate between two different systems. That's an API. And what is web service? So web service is a which is designed to interact with a machine-to-machine interaction over the internet. So that is called web service. So basically, a Java-based application on Windows can communicate with the .NET-based web applications on the Linux. The communication can be done using a set of XML or JSON messages over HTTP protocol. So web service and API, all web services are APIs, but all APIs are not web services. So web service uses only three styles of use: SOAP, REST, and XML RPC for communication. API may use any style for communication. So web services are self-contained. APIs are open source and can be used anywhere. So web services can be hosted on IaaS, Internet Information Service, but APIs can be hosted within the application or IaaS. So web services might not perform all operations that an API performs. API can perform all tasks that web services can do that. And another one is, SOAP is, it requires a lot of bandwidth and over the network. It's not lightweight architecture. But API is, lightweight architecture and good for devices and which have a limited bandwidth, like mobile devices. But not only mobile, anywhere people are using this APIs to access the data very quickly and very fast and efficiently. In fraction of seconds, you will get the data. So web service needs work for its operation network. So it needs a network for its operations, and API doesn't need a network for its you don't need internet to access APIs. If, for example, you download the WebDriver APIs, you can access them directly without even Selenium. If you add that WebDriver APIs in the Selenium IDE tool or IntelliJ, you can access directly. You don't need internet for that. So that is the point it is talking here. So that's all about web service and API differences. It's one of the very famous interview questions. Focus on this only, the theoretical part. Okay. So let's join back and we'll discuss on a different theoretical part. Then we'll see that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.